Reverend Mike here again. I am still all about healing. This YouTube today is about the book, Answer to Sentencing. Help Judges Cut Minimums. The book tells the story of a judge in the Nashville area who was in a situation where he had to live up to his duty and sentence someone to a sentence that he was not at peace with. His heart told him needed to be done, and he needed to quit because he couldn't do it anymore, because he did not believe in the sentencing the way it was required to be given. And when I read that story in the news, it bothered me. So I went to check a little further about sentencing, because Andrew Raphael had once commented that we could cut our prison costs by 47% if we were willing to do the work. Well, this new story of the judge and what Angel Raphael had sent through me previously, I just wanted to dig deeper. So I looked into sentencing a bit, and I found out that there was a study done, and the study had a huge number of judges reply to the survey, and it varied a little bit by question, but the sum total of it was pretty much the judges who responded wanted to see sentences cut by about 50%. And this was a huge number of judges that responded, and very few who decided not to answer particular questions. Like, out of hundreds, there was 7 or so who didn't answer particular ones. So it was enormous numbers. The book has all the specifics, and it references to the survey. But it just was so monumental to me that I had to write a book about it and get it out there so that others can understand. But then the question becomes, what do we do about it? Because the judges can't change things. The political process has to change things. So the likelihood of us getting to our politicians and changing the laws is very complicated. So what I did was I drafted some forms. I drafted a form for the U.S. Congress, for the U.S. Senate, for the state Congress, the state Senate, and I also drafted one that was rather universal in nature that could be used for cities. And it was plain and simply there in this one-page thing where you could submit the paper on your letterhead to your politician and ask for them to look into changing the sentencing guidelines. And the idea that I put on paper was very simple. It was just to allow the judges to decrease the mandatory minimums to a suggested number, which could be as much as 47% less than what was ordained in the mandatory minimum requirements that exist. So one piece of paper you could send to your congressman in the city or the state or the city leader where you are, and convey to them a simple message. Now, if you get your buddies to do the same thing in your city, in your state, and in your part of the country, then we can get some significant numbers going, and we can make some changes in this. It's not going to happen overnight, but it can be done. And it's what I propose is simple, and I would encourage you to get the book when it's free on Kindle, and write that out in the document and start sharing it with your friends and start sharing it with your politicians. And maybe keep doing that every year until you get some results where you live. Because the government is running out of money. The government needs to use the money we have wisely. And if they do, there will be more money to take care of things properly. And there'll be less people who are being caught in prison and trapped there and continue to drain our coffers in the process. We need freedom for many people who have changed. May God bless you. May you pray for sentence reform, and may you reach out to your politicians. And everybody can do it. It's pretty simple what I wrote in the book. Just write it out and hand it to your politician. And do it every year until you start seeing changes. May God bless you and keep you forever and ever. Amen.